beautiful creatures of the world, and welcome back to Coffee with Kerri-Lynn. It's a proper winter day here in the far north of Maine, up along the Canadian border. If you are out and about, the roads are slickery, so please slow your roll in the Crown of Maine. I hope everybody is having a beautiful day wherever you might be. I hope it's nice, warm, sunny. I hope you're having a day filled with fabulosity and dang good coffee, because we all deserve dang good coffee. It's something you can count on throughout your day. This is a new little mug that the king of the castle, the laird of the manor, thrifted the other day. I'm assuming it's from a local artist. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it fits my hands so perfectly. I have chilblains, so it's very important every once in a while when it acts up to keep my hands extremely warm. Usually I wear gloves in the house when the flare-ups happen, just to keep everything nice and warm and toasty. If you suffer from chilblains, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's quite painful and quite agonizing when a flare-up happens either on your fingers or your toes. Best thing you can do is keep everything warm and toasty, and it just fits my fingers so perfectly. If you are the artist that created this cup, it is absolutely stunning. I am absolutely appreciative. Your work is beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, let's talk about the fog. Let's talk about the fires in LA. Let's talk about the World Economic Forum in 15-minute cities. Yes, it's one of these episodes, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful creatures of the world. Usually, when people start talking about things and trying to connect dots, they're called conspiracy theorists, but nowadays, every conspiracy has turned out to be a fact. So we are conspiracy fact tellers. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, there is a thing afoot. There is a mystery. There is mayhem, and it is all around us. We know that the World Economic Forum would love to have global 15-minute cities by 2030. They would like to take all the big cities and wipe them off the map, move people on, and build the city out to be something of ease and access to its inhabitants. They would like to give you a home, an apartment, stacked to the sky with people. They would like to give you the ability to never drive a car again. They would like you to be able to have all your needs met in the area that you live in your little quadrant with a 15-minute walk. You can walk to the doctor in 15 minutes. You can walk to the grocery store in 15 minutes. You can get to the library in 15 minutes. You can get all of your shopping done with a 15-minute walk or a 15-minute bike ride. The World Economic Forum would like you to stay in your quadrant. And if you have to leave your little quadrant, your little slice of the pie, they want you to ask permission to leave your little area. If you have a car and you have a relative in a different quadrant, longer than 15 minutes from your house, they want you to express permission to drive your vehicle out of your quadrant and over to see your friend, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your auntie, your uncle. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, there is something diabolical that is going on in this world. And more people are starting to connect the dots. Last week, we talked about FogVid 24. I have a video on it. I'm going to link it in the description box below. We were one of the first channels to start talking about this mystery fog that was making people sick. For a quick recap, there were people that were out in this weird mystery fog. The fog smelled very chemicalized. The fog burned the eyes, the nose, the throat when it was inhaled. About 12 hours after exposure to the fog, people were getting flu-like symptoms close to what they experienced a few years ago with the ovoid. The brain fog started coming back. The lethargy, the exhaustion was back on a grand scale. People were sleeping between 10 and 14 hours a day for days on end again. Mysteriously, nobody in their family was experiencing these symptoms, not being passed human to human. Only people who were exposed to the fog in California, Texas, Florida, parts of the Midwest were experiencing these flu-like symptoms. We saw a video of a woman in Florida who took video of the fog, and in the fog it looked like it was snowing, yet when you looked at the ground, it was bone dry. She was bone dry. People started calling the health department in Florida, and they were told not to go in the fog. Didn't know what the fog was. Don't go in the fog. Probably won't hurt you. However, it does have a lot of particulates in it, and those particulates could get in your lungs and cause respiratory issues. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, FogVid is now dropping from the news cycle, as well as H5N1, as well as the drones. All these stories are disappearing, and new, more interesting stories are starting to hit the news cycle. I have been in a lot of fogs. I grew up in Rhode Island. I lived on the Bay. And I, for one, can tell you fog does some weird things. I have experienced condensation in the fog. But you can see the condensation floating. You stick your hand up in it, and it's dry. It was wild. It was a phenomenon. It blows the minds of the children. Oh my gosh, this is great. It's just a cool thing. I have experienced fogs that smelled. They smelled like low tide. They smelled very, very salty. Nothing acrid. Nothing ever burned my eyes, nose, or throat when a fog came through. We have had thick fogs. We have had fogs so thick you couldn't see through them. Cut it through with a knife. Fogs like pea soup. I have had fogs roll in my lifetime where our windows were open and you could see the fog coming into the house. We have seen fogs that did not lift until well after noon over the bay. So natural phenomena such as fogs, such as hurricanes, such as blizzards and ice storms, they have their own energy. They have their own quirks. Never in my life have I seen a fog that contained snow in it, snow-like substance. Never in my life has my eyes, nose, or throat burned from breathing in the fog. So something is absolutely going on. What could it be? Who knows? The fires are raging in LA, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, with 0% containment. There is over 3,000 acres that have been burned up. It is spreading into Malibu and into the Palisades. Now, when you go back to last week and start watching videos from last week on social media, you will see that people were posting videos about the vast amount of chemtrails over the area. You will find videos on FogVid 24 in that area of California. The fog that tasted like chemical. This is a fast-moving fire. There is high winds. But firefighters are saying that they've never seen fire act the way this fire is acting. And before anybody starts, while LA is the cesspool of California, it is not God smiting anybody. Ladies and gentlemen, this fire is doing some pretty unusual things according to some of the seasoned firefighters that are helping to combat the flames. This fire is expanding in all directions. It is eating through everything it comes in contact with. It is moving north, west, east, south, all at the same time. Question is, could this be a result of all those reports last week of the chemtrails, the unusual amount of chemtrails, the heavy chemtrails in the area? Could this be a result of the fog that tasted weird in the area? We don't know. People are starting to equate the LA fires to the Maui fire. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk just a brief moment about Maui. Happened, 18 months, 2 years ago? Maybe 2.5 years ago? The people who lost their homes in the Maui fire are not being allowed, all these years later, back onto their property. They're not being allowed to rebuild. They're not being paid out from their insurance companies, those that had fire insurance on their home. The insurance companies are not paying them out. But they are receiving offers from people who want to purchase the land. Maui was exceptionally horrifying. The way that fire whipped across the island, the way that people were trapped, the way that people had to jump into the ocean to try to save themselves. The amount of lives that were lost was absolutely devastating and shameful and should never have happened. The fact that the people of Maui still cannot get onto their property that has been burned out. What's really going on? Land developers want this land, and they want the people gone from this land. Are we going to see the same thing in the LA area? Are they going to gate off this area after the fires are out, like they did in Maui? Are they going to not allow homeowners, landowners back on their property? Our insurance company is going to pay the homeowners out for their insurance claims. That is yet to be seen. Is this the beginning of 15-minute city reconstruction? You know, we're 5 years away from the World Economic Forum. 2030 is 5 years away from the World Economic Forum's plans to have global 15-minute cities. This is what they want. They want everybody driving electric cars. They want everybody in specific areas that are quadranted out like pieces of a pie. All your needs can be met in 15 minutes. 15-minute walk, 15-minute bike ride. And if you want to go visit a relative in a different quadrant, you need to ask permission. And you can only go so many times per year. Absolute insanity. It sounds really out there, really crazy. But this fog sounded out there and crazy. And now we've got fires raging in an area that the fog was prevalent in. I don't know what's happening. The firefighters don't know what's happening. They just have never seen fire act like this before. The firefighters of Maui did not ever see fire that acted like that before. As like in Maui, the LA area is running out of water. They're running out of resource to fight the fire. What I do know, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, is that our thoughts and prayers are with everybody that is being affected by the fire. We pray for each and every person to be safe. It's going to be hard losses. Absolutely. There's no negating that. When you lose your material possessions, it is not an easy process to get through. We just need to remember that the greatest asset, the greatest amount of wealth that we own is our lives. And we pray that each and every person gets out of the path of the fire and has a beautiful life to live. You can rebuild, I promise you. You can rebuild, but you can't replace human life. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, be the kindness that you want to see in the world. Live from your heart. Tell your family members, tell the people that you love them, because you never know when a natural disaster is going to strike. You never know if that natural disaster strikes, if you're going to all be together when it happens. And as always, Carpe Diem. It's a crazy world we live in, and nobody promised you a tomorrow.